You're listening to Croydon Radio. Croydon Radio. Live from Matthews Yard.
And so I have sitting before me a young gentleman in the shape of Clive Austin, who has just braved the parking situation of Croydon, which is never much fun on any day of the week at any time. But nevertheless, he is here safe and sound, which is great. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
And you're here to talk about a book. Now, the title of it could be misconstrued if you have that sort of a mind. It's called The Swingers of West London, but we know that you mean swing dancing,
exactly.
Don't you? Absolutely. So tell me, what inspired this book?
Right. Well, if you go back about 10 years, I used to have an ordinary day job as a courier in Sutton, and I used to also go out teaching dance in my spare time. And then I injured my back. So the first thing that happened was I was sort of kicked out of the dance class.
They kicked you out? That was a bit mean.
Yeah, well, they asked me not to come back, which is slightly different. So I'd lost pretty much my social life overnight, and I started to write a little bit of comedy on the internet, on Facebook, just to cheer myself up, based around Strictly Come Dancing.
Yeah.
So I challenged myself to write a joke a day for the 16 weeks that Strictly Come Dancing was on. And a few of my friends said, "Oh, this is really good. You should carry this on." So,
what was the first joke you wrote?
Oh, I forget now.
Oh, no.
I'd come up with this strange idea that if you could see behind the cameras at Strictly Come Dancing, there was this alternate life where people didn't actually know each other because the celebrities were getting less and less every year, in my opinion. And I think the first joke I had, it wasn't one of my jokes, I must admit, but it was that Tess Daly ran up to Andy Murray's mum. I've forgotten her name.
Well, Andy Murray's
mum,
yeah,
who was on there one year, and said that she tried to charm her way into being her friend, and said, "Oh, I've just bought myself a new tennis bat. It's quite expensive." And Andy Murray's mum says, "Oh, it's a racket." I said, "Yeah, you're telling me it cost me 400 quid. Not particularly new.
But corny but clean, and I like that. I mean, I'm all for corny but clean.
Yeah.
So you had to give up dancing, which obviously must have been quite depressing for you in certain respects, because obviously there's not just the physical exercise and the enjoyment, but the social aspect. So, I mean, how did you replace all of that?
I sort of didn't really. I threw myself into my work a bit more, and then 3 years later, I lost my job as well because of my injury to my back. So my life started to sort of spiral out of control a little bit, as you can imagine.
Yes.
And a friend said, "Well, why don't you just try and write comedy again, just to cheer yourself up?" Because this was a while later, and I thought, I've got to make a living somehow. So I just thought to myself, I could write about dance. That's what I do. I'll write a short story just about dance, just to cheer myself up. And I wrote this one scene, and I thought, well, this is actually not too bad, because I'd already written a lot of the jokes
beforehand. Are they based
beforehand.
on your absolute experiences, or the characters completely fictitious?
It's a combination of both.
Okay.
A lot of the situations that happen either happen to me, or they're embellishments of something that's happened to me, or they're combinations of things that have happened to people that are in no way connected to dance, but there were similarities.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, I could just run with this. And then, of course, when it starts migrating away from what really happened, then you can really start to have fun with it and make it into stuff that never happened at all. So it's a mixture of everything, really.
I mean, it's interesting to me how much has in ballroom dancing and, any kind of formal dancing has inspired creative minds in the last few years. I mean, it's shocking. Even last year there was a, or earlier this year, there was a huge new musical at the Fairfield Halls, which centred around ballroom dancing and set in South America. And I thought, what is it that attracts people to talking about it so much?
I don't know. I get the impression that that the success of Strictly was more around getting an insight into the everyday lives of the celebrities, and it sort of moved away from the dance as much as it is a program about dance. I think that's what really took off, because back in the early days of not the early days of Strictly Come Dancing, because obviously it was on 20 or 30 years ago, or as Come Dancing, but when Bruce Forsyth started, it used to alternate with a program that was run by Graham Norton called Strictly Dance Fever. They used to have one. Then that was just for normal, everyday people, just a dance competition. Then they'd have Strictly 1 year, then back to Graham Norton. But then I think people just got more and more interested in seeing, these celebrities that you admire, and seeing that they're actually normal people. And they got caught up in the gossip and the drama of it all more than the dance. And I think that sort of catapulted dance.
But do you think that sometimes people are deliberately set up to fail in a program like that?
I don't know. I'm sure there are people that go on it and think they haven't got a chance. But
the fee's probably too good to turn down.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you wrote this book. Now, did you self-publish this, or did you go through a publishing house?
Well, what I actually intended to do was write it as a sitcom. And to cut a very long story short, I went through the process of contacting production companies, agents, the actors that I had in mind, making a line of merchandise, finding all the locations around southwest London that it would have needed, and still a lot of the people just won't even respond to you, which I thought was crazy, because in my mind I thought to myself, I've got a product here that is a combination of Strictly Come Dancing, that used to drag in about 8.3 million viewers, and Mrs. Brown's Boys, that used to drag in anything up to 12 million sometimes. And I thought, if that isn't a programme that's waiting to be made, a combination of the two, then I don't know what is. But a lot of the time, people just wouldn't even respond.
Yeah, you just have to keep banging on doors, I'm afraid,
Yeah,
in this world. Yeah,
yeah.
Absolutely. That is the nature of the beast. But, I think if you bang long enough, someone eventually listens and cracks the door open, don't they?
Yeah. Well, ironically, one of the headline comedians that I'd written the part for actually sat down and had a nice long chat with me about it, and we've been sort of good friends ever since. And he's come round to the house and said, well, how's it going? What's the next move? And I think the idea is to take it to Radio 4 before it gets to television, because it'll be a lot easier to make.
It's where a lot of things often start there, it's true. And, for example, things like Dinner Ladies, which became a huge TV hit, Victoria Wood's Dinner Ladies, that started as a radio show. Loads of things started at radio, and it's cheaper for them to make that and to see. So, Swingers of West London, Part 1, the early years.
Yeah.
So, has Part 2 been written?
Part 2 has been written. I released that in May, just gone. And to explain Part 1, that became a bestseller on Amazon in England within 2 days of it being listed, which sort of blew my mind. But Part 2 I've only just released it, and that became a bestseller on its first day, but then also become a bestseller in Australia about a fortnight later.
Is this via the Kindle mechanism then?
Paperback and Kindle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I'd got nowhere getting it to TV, and by coincidence a friend on Facebook posted up a picture of his new book and said, oh, I've had this self-published through Amazon. I'm really excited. So I asked him about it, and he said, well, here's how you do it. Just buy this book. It'll show you how to tell you more about it. And I basically rewrote the first series that I would have had there as a paperback, which is Swingers of West London Part 1.
Yes.
Because I eventually had 4 series and a Christmas special, so I've got about 32 episodes.
You have indeed, haven't you? My goodness gracious me. Well, hopefully somewhere along the line, if you're a bestseller, somebody's going to prick up their ears and take a little bit of notice there.
I think so.
So, the future for Swingers, you've got Part 2 that's just published, and you say maybe a 3 and a 4 to follow shortly? Or?
Yeah, I'm working on Part 3 at the moment. I'm up to Chapter 3 at the moment.
Do the hard copies go into bookshops as well, or is it purely online?
It's purely online in England. I was in talks with W.H. Smith's and Waterstones to try and get it into a few of the local shops to Staines, but that's that's in process at the moment.
Yeah, I know.
It's never ending.
Well, I
process.
think online sales are probably better than hard copy sales anyway, aren't they?
Well, only about 3 weeks ago, as a Kindle, all 3 books that I'd written in that series were the top 3 highest ranked Kindle searches for Strictly Come Dancing.
And in terms of self-publishing, because I'm very interested in that whole mechanism, is it relatively simple to do it with Amazon, and does it cost you anything to do it?
It doesn't cost you anything to actually upload your book with them. Obviously, if they then go on and sell it, they take a cut of that sort of thing, especially if it's if you make it into a paperback as well, because there are production costs. But I highly recommend a really good book called How I Became a Best-Selling Author in 2 Days.
Wow.
Written by me.
Okay, all right.
Which
And that's
is one of my other
available on
books.
Amazon.
Yeah, that's available on Amazon. Yeah. Because a lot of the books out there rave on about how easy it is and how great it is. But I made a lot of very basic mistakes. And
Like what?
Like what? Oh, dear. Like not realising, ironically, that there isn't just one Amazon. There are 12 different versions of Amazon out there. So when I originally listed my book on Amazon, I thought, great, the whole world can see my book now. And they sort of could, but you have to contact each individual country separately and say, look, I want it put in this chart or in this chart, because they just don't correlate at all.
It's all about territories, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I would imagine with Brexit, that's all going to dramatically alter online sales for people in this country. So, yes, yet another nail in the coffin. So, Swingers of West London, you have a website called Swingers of West London Official.
Yeah.
And on there, you can see all sorts of bits of information about yourself and about the book and et cetera, et cetera. But if people want to purchase you, the best place is Amazon.
Is
yes?
Amazon, yeah.
Absolutely.
If you, like I say, if you search Strictly Come Dancing and then narrow the search field down to either books or Kindle, I should show up on the first page, if not the first couple of pages.
I was going to say, why don't they just type in Swingers of West London
they
by
could
Clive
do.
Austin?
Yeah,
Wouldn't
they
get them
could
there
do.
straight away?
Yeah, they could easily do that.
Yes, okay. So, folks, if you're feeling intrigued, which I'm sure you are, and we're not going to give too much of this story away because it seems a shame to do that, but let's just say it sounds like it's a lot of fun. Is there basically a happy ending at the end of each book, or is it a cliffhanger?
It's a cliffhanger at the end of the first book.
Okay.
And a cliffhanger at the end of the second book, to be honest.
So you leave us wanting more each time.
I leave you wanting more at the end of each chapter. Basically, I don't think I'll be letting daylight in upon magic if I said that, basically situations happen, they're all perfectly innocent, and then by the end of it, something gets taken completely the wrong way, and then just life starts to spiral out of control for the lead character, and you sort of think, oh, is he ever going to get with this person?
Okay, well, let's not give too much
I
away.
won't give too much away.
I think it's important that we get people to go and buy the book.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
read it and then keep wanting more. And if they want to get in contact with you, the best way I would imagine is through your website.
Yes.
If they're enjoying your work. And if there's any producers out there, radio, TV, film or otherwise, get on there and have a look. There's a man sitting here with 32 episodes, nowhere to go at the moment, and it seems like he should be getting in touch with you.
Thank you.
So, Clive, thank you very much indeed for coming in and telling us all about it.
Thank you.
And we hope that you continue to be a #1 bestseller wherever you may be.
Brilliant. Thank
whether
you.
it be in this country or otherwise. Okay, let's line up a track. And thank you again, and take care, and let us know when the next one comes out.
Will do.